Okay, so you've given up dieting and you're no longer following rigid eating plans, but you still want some guidelines on how to eat healthily. In this video, I'm sharing flexible tips for healthy eating, the Food Freedom Edition. This video will be particularly useful for those of you who've given up restrictive eating and want to make peace with food. I'm Lara, the Food Freedom Psychologist, and I can help you create a healthy and happy relationship with food without guilt or stress eating. I hope you're enjoying my videos and getting so much value from them. If you are, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell there so that you're notified every single time I post a new video. Side note here, if you are feeling overwhelmed and out of control around food, then sign up to my free Food Freedom Masterclass. The details are below and it looks like this. When my clients give up dieting, they often still want to eat in a way that honours their health. And this is something that I focus on in my signature program. And we've seen so many incredible transformations with people completely changing their relationship with food and their body image. Right, so if that's you and you've given up the restrictive dieting and the food rules, but you still want to know how to eat in a very health promoting way, then this is for you. So here I am giving you 7 tips to help you through the process. And I want you to know that these tips are meant to be super flexible guidelines, and flexibility really is key. We're moving completely away from those rigid food rules, and it's about you finding something that's flexible and fits with you. And that's my first tip. You want to find something that works with your particular lifestyle. This is so important. There isn't a one size fits all. There's no point in setting up structure and guidelines that just don't fit your lifestyle. So if you're a super busy working mum, you want to be able to honour your health within that framework. There's no point in telling yourself you're going to cook from scratch every single meal if you don't have the time or the energy or the resource to do that. There's no point in making yourself more stressed. Equally, if you travel a lot for work or maybe you work from home, you want to find an approach that works around those working patterns. So this is the first thing to consider when you're thinking about eating in a way that honours your health. My second tip is about adding, not subtracting. Now that you're no longer restricting foods, I actually want you to think about adding new foods to your week instead, rather than taking them away. So the focus moves away from things like,
oh no, I need to cut the amount of carbs I'm eating,
where instead you're focusing on things like, how can I add more fruits and vegetables into my week? It's a really great opportunity for you to try out different foods every week to create more variety. And that actually leads to my third point. Aim to have a different variety of food every week. Try and change up what you're eating. So try different protein or carbs. Like if you're always eating tuna, try salmon or cod instead, or maybe even try a vegetable protein like lentils or tofu. If you normally eat pasta, try a different type of pasta like quinoa pasta or buckwheat pasta. Or if you always eat a certain type of bread, maybe try rye bread. Or if you always eat broccoli and carrots, try spinach and peas. Or if you always have the same dish at a restaurant, try something new. Do you see what I mean? It's just about kind of switching up what it is you already do. For your long-term health, actually having that variety of food is really important. And the other thing that you can try and aim for in terms of variety is a variety of colour on your plate. Now again, I want you to do this with flexibility. So if there are days when there's not so much colour, don't worry about it. So you might think about your plate across a week rather than on a particular day. And a nice way of thinking about it is thinking about aiming to have different colours of the rainbow on your plate. And this is a really good way of just making sure that you have all the micronutrients that you need. So number 4 is about satisfaction and enjoyment. One of the reasons behind why people binge or overeat is because they don't have a sense of satisfaction after the meals, or they don't enjoy the meals that they're eating. Actually, I spoke about this in this video here, so you can take a look at it there. But it's really important to honour your taste buds as well when you eat, so that you enjoy your food and you feel satisfied after you've eaten. Yeah, it's really important to consider nutrients, but it's also important to consider enjoyment and satisfaction, because food is about more than just fueling your body. In fact, research actually shows that when you eat something that you think is indulgent, you actually create more of the fullness hormone, so you feel fuller quicker. There's a fascinating piece of research and I've linked to it below. So ask yourself, are you actually enjoying the meals that you eat and finding that sense of satisfaction? Tip number 5 is to include all the macronutrients. And by that I just mean protein, carbohydrates and fat. So I guess you could call this ensuring that you have a balanced meal. So you want to aim to include protein, plants, fat and carbohydrates. And I often like to start with the protein. So I think about what's the protein part of my meal. It could be fish or meat, tofu, eggs, could be lentils. And obviously you can adjust this to any eating preferences that you have if you are vegetarian, for example. Then you want to add the plant. So this is where you think about your fruits and vegetables. And this is so important because fiber and protein are 2 elements of your meal that actually help you feel full and satisfied. So it's a good place to start. Then you want to add the fats, and that's because they add this sense of delicious taste and that sense of satisfaction. And then you want to add your carbs for energy. Now obviously I want you to think about all of this in a super flexible way. It might be that not every meal attends to all of those macronutrients, and that's totally fine. And again, you want to do it according to your lifestyle, but this is just a good rule of thumb to follow. Number 6 is about big picture thinking. I've kind of already alluded to this, but I really recommend that you think big picture rather than zooming in on one particular food or one particular meal. The idea is to zoom out and look at how you eat across the course of a week rather than any particular meal or particular day. And if, for example, you have a weekend where you eat less vegetables than normal, that's totally cool because you're looking at how you eat across the course of a week. And I think certainly for me, this takes a lot of the stress out of eating because I'm not worried. I know that one particular meal isn't going to negatively impact my health for life as long as I'm in general looking at how I eat across a week. And finally, you want to create an environment around you that supports those health promoting behaviours. For example, if you want to increase the amount of fruit and veg that you're eating in a week, you've got to go out and shop for those fruit and veg. You've got to have them available in your house. I actually do recommend having a big variety of different things stocked in your shelves, fridge and freezer, so that you don't ever feel like you're denying yourself. But at the same time, it's important to have quick, healthful snacks that are easy to grab. If you like fruit, have a big fruit bowl full of fruit somewhere really easily accessible in your kitchen. If you travel a lot or you're rushing around, then have quick and easy accessible like protein bars, for example, that you can take on the go. You want to have other easy access to snacks. You might chop some vegetables at the beginning of the week and have them in your fridge. Or maybe you do something like roast a whole load of root vegetables at the beginning so you can add them to your meals throughout the week. But the idea behind this is just make the health promoting stuff really easy and available. Another way to support your long-term health is actually making sure you get enough sleep at night, and the recommendation is between 7 to 8 hours. Obviously, lifestyle allowing. I remember there was a point of time as a parent that I definitely wasn't even able to get anything like that amount of sleep. But actually lack of sleep means that you're more likely to reach for the sugary and high-fat snacks, which I don't have anything wrong with, but you might want to consider that and think about how much sleep you're getting at night. You might also want to consider doing a bit of meal planning. Now, I don't fully meal prep, but I do plan out my meals. So I take a little bit of time on the weekend, jot down what meals we're going to have across the week, and that just makes sure that I have the right ingredients in the fridge and I'm not left kind of thinking, hell, what are we going to eat? But again, you want to make sure that all of this fits around your lifestyle and that you use these tips in a super flexible way. So I really hope that these tips do help think about healthy eating, but from a food freedom perspective and in that flexible way. And as always, I've added some resources and some links below for you to explore. And I recommend 2 books here. One is called Just Eat It and one is called Intuitive Eating. And they're both really fantastic books for thinking about how to eat in a flexible yet healthful way with no restriction. And if you're ready to make peace with food, then sign up to my free Food Freedom Masterclass. It looks like this and the details are below. Check out these videos next for more health, food freedom and mindset tips. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. And if you know anyone else who might benefit from watching this video, then please do share it with your friends. Bye for now.